The corporate media is dying and a new media revolution is here. It is time to fight for the truth. 2C TV is leading this fight. The channel that challenges the mainstream media and the political establishment, from the left-wing nutters to the globalist elite. Join our revolution and help us win for freedom and common sense. Become a 2C TV Plus member today and get access to uncensored shows, documentaries and our chat forum. We are the media. Good morning, good afternoon and good evening wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to 2C TV, ladies and gentlemen, and the latest update from the Middle East this time. Yes, the Israelis are getting ready for the IRGC. The Islamic Republic of Iran continue to attack Israel through their proxies. The IDF continue to wipe out the remaining IRGC bases in Syria. And the conflict is now once again escalating head-to-head between the State of Israel and the Iranian regime. We're going to give you guys all the details because over the last hour or so, everything has been escalating. Prime Minister Netanyahu has sent out a special message to the Iranian people, which is quite interesting to obviously interpret the whole thing alongside all the other messaging that we've been getting all day in regards to what the IDF and the IAF, the Israeli Air Force, are potentially considering to do. Before we start, obviously, if you want to get more out of this channel, feel free to join 2C TV Plus, our independent platform, by going on 2c.tv and join. If you join on an annual basis, you get 1 month free. Today we filmed our latest premiere show about the decline of education in the Western world. All right, let's talk about Israel. Let's talk about what we've been hearing from the Israeli government and what could be the reaction from the Islamic Republic, because Iran essentially started this. The conflict is ongoing. There is no new conflict being created here. The Islamic Republic continue to attack Israel through their proxies and also directly. They've done it already twice. And the Israelis are, I think they're getting a little bit impatient. They've been under a lot of pressure from Joe Biden. The Biden administration stopped Israel from defending itself properly against Iran. The Israelis wanted to hit the nuclear sites and also oil and gas sites in Iran in retaliation, in self-defense. But obviously the Western globalists didn't like that. Obviously there was a lot of speculations about the Biden-Harris team saying, oh, that's going to affect our campaign against Trump. Well, you lost anyway. So now that Trump is going to get back into the White House, there is now a new conversation. First things first, we will talk about all the messaging that's coming out of Israel in regards to Israel targeting Iran. But something very important happened about an hour ago. It's extremely important in the middle of all this. And that is the video message that Prime Minister Netanyahu just released, directly speaking to the Iranian people who are under the Islamic occupation, who have been under occupation since 1979. Let's quickly go to that video, analyze that, come back, give you guys more updates, get your reaction if you're watching this live, and see what we are talking about.
People of Iran, as we see history unfold before our very eyes, I can only imagine what you're feeling right now. Your oppressors spent over $30 billion supporting Assad in Syria. Today, after only 11 days of fighting, his regime collapsed into the dust. Your oppressors spent billions supporting Hamas in Gaza. Today, their regime lies in ruins. Your oppressors spent over $20 billion supporting Hezbollah in Lebanon. In a matter of weeks, most of Hezbollah's leaders, its rockets, and thousands of its terrorists went up in smoke. The money your oppressors stole from you literally went up in smoke. You must be furious imagining the new roads, schools, hospitals that could have been built with the tens of billions of dollars your dictators wasted backing terrorists who lose over and over and over again. Do you know why Iran's oppressors keep losing? It's not only because they're incompetent and cruel. They are. It's because they seek to conquer other nations, to impose fundamentalist tyranny on the Middle East, on the entire world. The only thing Israel seeks is to defend our state. But in so doing, we're defending civilization against barbarism. The historic events we witness today are a chain reaction to the pounding of Hamas, the decimation of Hezbollah, the targeting of Nasrallah, the blows we delivered to the Iran regime's axis of terror. And all this came, as President Trump pointed out this week, because of Israel and its fighting success. I want to make clear, Israel wants peace. We want peace with all those who truly want peace with us. And I have no doubt that you, the people of Iran, know this. I know that just as we want peace with you, you want peace with us. But you suffer under the rule of a regime that subjugates you and threatens us. You know what this regime is truly terrified of? It's terrified of you, the people of Iran. And one day, I know that, one day this will change. One day Iran will be free. Women, life, freedom, zan, zandagi, azadi. That is the future of Iran. That is the future of peace. And I have no doubt that we will realize that future together a lot sooner than people think. I know, and I believe, we will transform the Middle East into a beacon of prosperity, progress, and peace. Thank you.
Interesting messaging, right? So one might watch that and say, well, that's just the Prime Minister sending a nice message to the Iranian people. True. But the wording is important. Read between the lines. I mean, it's not really between the lines, it's the actual lines. For example, saying, and he's been saying that recently more, that the end of the Islamic occupation in Iran is sooner than you think. And now he keeps using the word we, obviously the royal we, but he's talking about we, as in us, you guys, together, we will help to end the Islamic occupation. Now, obviously, Israel's perspective is it's self-defense, because the Iranian regime have been fighting Israel for the past, almost 45, 50 years now. So it's in their interest to get rid of the IRGC, just to keep their own people happy. But it's also in the interest of Israel to have a long-term partner again in Iran, because the historic alliance between the Iranians and the Jewish community and nation has always been there. We need to bring it back. So obviously he has his own perspective, and he has his own interest to look after, which is a win-win for both the Iranian people who currently in Iran are also supporting Israel, obviously against their own regime. And this is why the messaging is changing now. Iran is getting ready, the Islamic Republic is getting ready to attack again. And the Israelis are looking at Biden. He's leaving. They know Trump is coming. Trump has given them the green light to, in self-defense, to do what they can to get rid of the threat. Now, some of you might have already heard throughout the day, it started as rumors, then it was actually confirmed, all this stuff about the Israeli Air Force and the IDF in general about getting ready in terms of the nuclear sites, the nuclear facilities in Iran. But it's going further than that. The IDF believes now that now is a key moment to strike Iran's nuclear facilities. Security agencies are working together to gather intelligence and plan operations, preparing options for the government to consider. Now, everything at the end of the day goes back to the decision from the Israeli government. Now, Netanyahu himself has been criticized over the last few years for being too soft, for making concessions, for compromising too much, for going with diplomacy. And I remember about 3-4 years ago, Netanyahu made a couple of videos, again, addressing the Iranian people, saying, we're on your side, we don't want to attack you guys, we don't hate you, it would be nice if we could actually help you, give you clean water. But your regime doesn't want help from our country. And people saw that as, well, it's nice, it's lovely, but it's too soft. Now, after October the 7th, he has no choice. And there's a lot of pressure on Netanyahu. Obviously, as you guys know, domestically, in terms of internal politics in Israel, he has to do something now. His legacy is important, and the future of the state of Israel, the only Jewish nation in this world. Now, having said that, there's also more reaction when you look at what's going on in America. Now, Congressman Mike Lawler. Mike Lawler came out, and actually, I'm speaking to the others in Washington, D.C. Again, he decided to become robust. Rightly so. Let's quickly show you what Mike Lawler was talking about earlier on, in case you missed it.
And if Israel listened to this administration and didn't go into Gaza and didn't go into the south, Sinwar would still be alive. And if Israel listened to this administration, Nasrallah would still be alive. And Assad would still be in power in Syria. And Iran would be stronger than ever. That is your legacy. You leave the world worse off today than it was when you inherited it.
Gentleman's time has expired. Recognize the
Enjoy reading this, because
gentlelady
this
from Pennsylvania,
is your
Ms.
legacy.
Wild.
Thank you, I have a very different legacy, one that I'll be happy to reflect on. I won't have the time to do it today because, of course, you don't provide any time to do it. It's very nice to make a speech. Leave me no time to respond.
The chair is
That's the way
recognized.
it is.
It will help if Anthony Blinken speaks slightly louder. He's always so quiet. He's always so annoying. I'm glad we're going to see the back of Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State, the most useless man since Hillary Clinton. She was the original useless man. Anyway, there's a lot of reaction already in the live chat. Let's get some comments. Just me, thank you, says, I've emailed you, Maya, your fab. Keep smiling. Love, from Susie Hartlepool. Thank you, Susie from Hartlepool. I'll check it out. Jennifer says, let's get some non-super chats. I think that they may need some more beepers. Yes, I think in the name of international trade, I think we must help the Iranian regime to buy some more pagers, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you from Israel for your remarkably accurate reporting. This morning, as I passed the spot of last night's terrible terrorist attack on my way to work, I was listening to your report. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, it was a terrible night. Fortunately, the 10-year-old boy who was heavily injured last night has lost his life. He was now obviously he's killed by that crazy Islamist terrorist, and of course a number of people are still injured, but I'm glad people in Israel obviously watch 2CTV to find out what's going on. Now, Nigel Francis says, ISIS on the rise and Starmer is inviting all the filth here. We are finished unless we fight, and not with ballot boxes. Let's not forget, Nigel, you also forgot to mention, not only is inviting people, obviously more refugees and everything else, but actually he's giving money. The UK government's been giving money to the Taliban in Afghanistan, the IRGC in Iran, now the new Islamist leadership in Syria, and of course the UNRWA, the UN agency in charge of Gaza. More taxpayer money being spent there. Someone says this is not about Syria or Iran. This is about the petrol dollar and the BRICS banks members. This is only the beginning of the pain the world will feel until NATO, Israel, America gets its own. The pro-BRICS people in the live chat, I love it. Yeah, sure. Anyway, Jim says the Middle East will burn. It's already started. Yep, and guess who started this? 1979. That's the whole thing. So the policy from the West has been completely messed up. So it all started mostly beginning of 20th century when BP, British Petroleum, went to the south of Iran, or Persia at the time, and the Russians took the north. Then they basically had some control over the Shah's dad, the original king of the Pahlavi dynasty, Reza Shah. And then obviously when he died and Mohammad Reza Shah, the last Shah, became the king, he asked the Americans to help him out to get rid of the Brits and the Russians, and then they could cooperate with the Americans. The Americans did that, but then they said, okay, well, can we be your puppet master? At first, obviously, he had to cooperate, and there was a lot of oil contracts with the Americans, and then the Shah of Iran said, well, we are now powerful as a country. We want to be an equal partner and an ally. Then things went out completely when of course, the West decided to betray the Shah of Iran, and at the same time, in the name of fighting the communists, created the Mujahideen and everything else that happened. Everything started to go wrong from that moment. Then since then, when the Iranian regime was created in 1979, the policy became, let's keep the Islamic Republic in charge. We'll say they're our enemies, but they're weak, they're idiots, right? The policy from the West is we would rather have a weak enemy in Iran than a strong equal partner who could be allies to Israel, and we won't be able to control the region. That's a terrible idea, because this is what the Iranian regime have been doing for the past few decades. Now it's unstoppable. What's the policy from the Americans now? They still don't want to do anything. Firstly, they shouldn't. We should not expect America to go back to the Middle East and intervene. Stop doing that. We don't want you to go to liberate the Iranian people in Iran. No, stop it, because none of that works. You've made mistakes. You've taken your money. You've taken the oil. Just get out. But supporting the enemy is too far as well. You don't have to fund the Iranian regime just because you're scared that Iran could become independent and free again. That is also a terrible policy. He says they didn't want Israel to attack Iran's oil facilities because Ted Cruz was telling the truth when he said that since Biden had taken over, Iran were earning more from oil, selling more oil than ever. Let's not forget, the people who have been linked to the Clinton dynasty, the Bidens, even the Bushes, have been benefiting massively because all the money that we're not supposed to be getting from, or anything from Iran, in terms of benefits or oil, we're still doing it. So, for example, you're not allowed to buy oil from Iran or gas. They give it to UAE, and then we get it from UAE as a proxy. So we say, we didn't actually get it from Iran. Really? Okay. So there is still a lot of dodgy dealings anyway. And that's why these people didn't really want, and don't really want, the Iranian regime to go anywhere. Kai says, any update on the Syrian president, Assad, who's fled to Russia? Will he be brought to justice to the criminal offense and corruption? No, because obviously he's now an asylum seeker in Russia. The Russians are not going to give him up. That will send a terrible message to the other friends of Russia. For example, that would say, if Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, has to escape one day, and he has to escape one day unless he dies, obviously Russia is one of the first options, unless he goes to Venezuela or something like that. If somehow Putin gives up Assad, then obviously all his other friends are going to be like, probably best not to go to Russia to seek asylum as dictators, because Putin might betray us again. So yeah, it's unlikely that Putin will dare give him up, unless there's some sort of deal when it comes to the Ukraine thing. But in fact, the only crazy scenario that I see, and I don't think it's easy to happen, is there could be an arrangement in order to get rid of the Islamists in Syria for a potential return of not necessarily Assad himself, but the Assad regime in the name of Assad. But the condition would be to stop the friendship that they have with the IRGC and Hezbollah. That, on paper, theoretically, that's the only scenario that you could actually get Russia to bring back Assad to live and then get old and die in Syria. Otherwise, there's no other way that could happen. It's another super chat from RG saying Iran could have been free from the IRGC tomorrow, but it won't happen in our lifetime, as Europe as a whole is going more towards radical Islam, promotes death and denying rights, and Europe's hand is in the fight is too important. So the issue with this comment is the Islamic community and the Islamists in Europe don't like the IRGC. They are Sunni and they hate the IRGC. These are the people, for example, like the Syrians, who are now celebrating in the UK and in Canada and wherever they are, because they hated Assad, because Assad was part of, they would see him as part of IRGC and the Shia side. So there is no way that the majority of the Islamic side in Europe would be sacrificing their lives to defend the Islamic Republic of Iran. They would rather if the Sunnis somehow take over Iran, obviously, but that's, again, highly, highly unlikely that Iran could fall into the hands of the Sunnis. There are not enough Sunnis to take over there. Amir Tusi, who happens to be my father, his multiple VPNs are working in Iran, says Iran is a very old country with a great civilization. Soon the government in Iran will change and we the people will be saved. So my dad continues to be optimistic, despite the fact that he's still stuck in Iran. Despite the fact that I probably shouldn't have read his comment out in public. I think they already know. The Iranian regime who are monitoring my dad, they already know his views. His position is more radical. He says, tell the West and Netanyahu to just bomb Iran. He's just radical. So just tell him to bomb Iran. We don't care. Get rid of the Iranian regime. Sigma says, Persians and Jews have contributed a lot to humanity. True. Islam has brought suffering, oppression, and death. And dark clothing as well. Let's not forget. Look what happens when Islamists go to other lands, let alone what they do to their own people. The best way to judge a civilization or any tribe is to judge them based on how they treat their own home and their own people. We always say about normal people. If you visit someone's house, just see how they treat their own kitchen, their own bathroom, and their own family members in front of you. Then you could actually assess their character, their true character. If you don't even care about your own home, then what do you expect from them if they go somewhere else? So it's the same with any nation, any tribe on this planet. So Sigma is spot on about that. Obviously, it's stereotype. Not everybody from the Arab world is like that, because obviously you got the middle class educated Arabs from Saudi or Jordan or Lebanon or UAE, Bahrain. They're good people. Rob says, suddenly all out he's spamming. Ooh, we got a spammer. Well, we don't. It depends what he's spamming. Is he actually copy and pasting? Because if it's just trolling, it's fine. We don't ban people if they just say things. What's it called? Nailb. What is this person? I'm sure if he's copy and pasting and just saying the same thing, it will pop up again. On the live chat, seems to be quiet for now, unless the username is something else. Anyway, I'll keep an eye out. Simone says the US oil will expand under Trump. Price of gas will go down. Will take out Russia and Iran. So I mean, that was Trump's policy last time as well. Anyway, because one main thing he did say, and I've said this before. Anyway, you guys know, when Trump told Germany before the Ukraine war that you guys are too addicted. He literally used the word addicted. You are too addicted to Russian oil and gas. And it's not good. It's always better to diversify your portfolio. And then when Ukraine happened, and then Germany was like, oh, maybe we should stop trading with Russia. And then they said, well, what now? You don't have any other place, any other supplier, you idiots. So the whole thing backfired. But obviously, if they had gone with Trump's policy to make sure you actually strengthen other options instead of just getting it from Iran or Russia, then it might have been actually quite helpful. But right now, that's not really the case. Anyway, what else do we have? Did I miss a... Yes, there's a super sticker from David. Thank you very much. Trisha says, Israel loves you. You understand us. Shalom from Tel Aviv. I miss Tel Aviv. It's a nice place. Good cocktails. Thank you, Trisha, by the way. What's going on now? We're getting some breaking news. It's fine. Just some man trying to enter the women's sports again in America. Nothing too important. Rule Britannia says a bit off subject, but there seems to be an A branded on your forehead. No, this was so I was trying to sleep last night, and Voldemort came, and Voldemort tried to kill me. His wand didn't work, so now I have a Harry Potter scar. I actually, in case you don't know, I scratched myself in sleep. So isn't it an A? I think it's just two lines. One is here, one is here. I do scratch myself like a cat. So I am Persian at the end of the day, so technically I'm a cat. I can self-identify as a cat. And difference is cats sleep a lot and I don't actually sleep much. So I would like to sleep more, but I do scratch myself. It's nothing kinky about it. Don't know why my brain went that way, but you know, it did. What are we going to do about it? Natalie says, I want to visit the free Persepolis. It's sad to say, Persepolis used to be the capital of the Persian Empire at some point, and you still have the ruins, because Alexander the Great, who wasn't really great, by the way, he was a spoiled middle-class child who had a great army, he decided to burn down the whole city because of a girl. Usually there's a woman behind these sort of things. And but historically it's always been protected by all governments and regimes and monarchies until the last few decades, because the Islamic Republic of Iran don't care about the Iranian heritage, so they've just left it to complete neglect, essentially. So it's becoming worse. If you go and visit, I mean, if one day becomes free, it's there's not much left. It's a complete ruin, more than before, more than what Alexander did. That idiot. Anyway. If any Greeks are watching this, don't get offended. Yeah, you had the nutter for a leader who somehow got their title great. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. Don't forget, if you want to support the channel and get more out of this, join 2CTV Plus, our own independent platform on our own website, 2c.tv. You can also find the link below this video under the description box and get 1 month free if you join on the annual subscription. We just filmed our latest premium show, The Decline of Western Education, and we're going to have more documentaries coming out soon as well. Thank you for watching. I'm Maya 2C, and we are the media.